last slide, I promise, is this online community. So in short, you'll be invited to our Slack workplace channels. You'll be part of a closed Facebook group where we're going to be sharing ideas, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to have ongoing learning. So the whole thing of Nexstar, isn't it? It's about education and network. And so this is what it is. We educate you with the program, and then you network like crazy with your peers through Slack, through Facebook, and through our ongoing programs from how to prompt to how to build your own AI. That's all part of this potential program. So that's it in
Awesome. So we are taking your questions throughout this as well. So if you do have a question, scan that QR code, send your question in. I'll be checking my phone here, so I'm not checking text messages up here. Although, Jack Tester, please stop blowing up my phone right now. But if you've got questions, send it in, and we will try and fit these in here as well. So let's go. You guys ready? All right, Matt, I'm going to start with you. Tell me a little bit about where you were at in your AI journey prior to the pilot program.
I'm not going to say we were fearful, but concerned. Just concerned, how are we going to control it? How are we going to use it? I feel like every time I open up an email or open up my computer, there's a new AI software. I mean, there's Fred, there's Bard, there's Gemini, there's all these things, and it's like, what do we use? How do we know if it's working? What are the ethics behind it? So that was, how are we going to organize it?
Okay.
That's where we were.
Abe?
Right, so we've been dabbling in AI. Actually, we're using that fancy name right now, AI, right? But about 4 or 5 years ago with Zapier and Power BI and stuff like that, which is a form of machine learning, right? Before it became really, really, really fancy. So we were doing that 4 or 5 years ago because we had some problems to solve. I'll just give you one example. We obviously have Service Titan, and we were using some of the time card features in there for the technicians, but we had our managers double checking the time cards, right? Well, we realized that was taking like 4 to 6 hours of their time auditing it against our GPS. So my whole thing is with AI and automation is I just want people to audit, right? I want this red flag to pop up and then they can dive deep. So we've been using, forms of this for a long time now, and the time card situation, we basically took it from 5 to 6 hours down to about 5 minutes. It spit out these reports and it said, hey, look at this, this, and this, right? This time variance doesn't match from when the truck physically arrived to the property and then when the GPS via service did. So to move forward a little bit, ChatGPT came out, right? And I was really interested in that. So personally, I just started playing around with it. Like Rocky said, just get out there and just break it. So I started playing around with it and answering questions, and it wasn't, and this was not the premium that I have now. And I said, hold on here. This is really, really powerful. So I introduced it to some of the team members in the organization, and they were really excited about it. And what I noticed is that it actually slightly became like the Wild Wild West a little bit, because you have some people responding to a review using AI or an email or a customer complaint, and then in the sales, he's really big in AI, he is responding to customers and training. So with Rocky's program, he was kind of like, hold on, you guys are just out of control with this. Let's kind of gate this a little bit and let's do a deeper dive. So, and that's where we are today, and really gave us a really nice roadmap to work with.
So if I'm hearing you right, you kind of had to hit the reset button a little bit. You had gone out there a little bit, but then...
Correct.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, Abe, I'm going to go right back to you here. So Rocky and the team, they walked you through kind of a backlog of AI cases. And I'm just curious how, prioritizing them so you can focus on which problems to solve. What was that process like for you, looking at that backlog? How did you prioritize? What was that process like?
Absolutely. So we basically went to the team, right? We just crowdsourced everybody, right? The team, everybody. And we just said, hey, what are the problems that we want to solve? So, we come up with a list of 300, right? And we're like, hold on here. This is not going to work.
Give me an example of some of those.
Oh man, so I mean, each department from, I'll give you an example, just finance, marketing, some of the list were, you know, in the call center, just alignment, the same message, in sales, making sure that they're following the process. Oh man, the list goes on and on. There was marketing initiatives.
So it spanned the entire organization.
Absolutely.
Because one of the questions that came in is, you know, what AI can be used outside of the field, and it sounds like it spanned your entire organization.
Absolutely, it touches every department.
Cool.
So from there, we basically went through the process that Rocky has developed, which is just powerful, to get us down to like 3, right? And a lot of it was, we started, like you said, with governance, right? Does this align with our AI objectives, right? Let's check that box. We go down to the list. Does this idea or experiment align with your values and your mission and you know, just the team and the culture? Check the box. Then we go down to the next thing. We're like, okay, is this a process issue or is this a people issue? Do we not have the right people in the right seats? Right? We check those boxes and so on. Then we tie into metrics and tie into some other things. And then once those boxes are kind of checked and it's vetted, we're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and move this over and let's work on the next one. We think this is going to be a good fit. So we were able to get it down to 3, which we'll discuss later. And then we still have that backlog. The cool thing about this, like Rocky said, is those 3 Ps, right? Is that if it doesn't work, just pump the darn thing, right? Jump onto something else, because you can execute so quickly with AI. That's the beauty of it, right? Is it saves time, and the way these softwares and programs are being developed, I mean, you can just execute. And that's what I'm a big fan of, is I go to, you know, visit shops and talk to people in the space, and they're scared to execute. So with Rocky's program and the tools that we have, we just run with it, and we'll break it and fix it.
We'll break it. Matt, your backlog experience.
Same thing. So it's kind of like what Jack Custer's taught us a long time ago. You know, the answer's in the room. Find the problems. That was this was actually probably one of my favorite processes, because what we do a lot of times, we come to events like this, we go to trade shows, we walk through the booths, we get sold a product, we take it back and say, hey, you know, we need to use this. You know, I found out Abe's using it, I found out these other guys are using it, it's working for them. They bought me dinner, so you know, I feel, you know, so we need to use this product. And you may not have a problem in that area. I mean, you might be, let's say you're a medium-sized, smaller company, and you know, your dispatcher's a badass. I mean, he's a great dispatcher, but you bring back ProBooks. It's like, we need to use this, it's working for all these other companies. Well, maybe that's not the issue. And that's first. Second, when we find the answer in the room, that's when we started creating buy-in. We started asking our employees, what are your pain points? What are your problems? Versus me telling them what their problems are, or bringing them a product, basically telling them, hey, because if I were to take back PriceBook Pro right now, or Dispatch Pro, or ProBooks, and basically what's that going to communicate to my dispatchers? You're not doing a very good job. Mm-hmm. But if I wait for them to bring me their problems and I source the issues, and then we take and we demo a couple of these products, and then now they have buy-in, and then that's where the adoption comes from. They're not going to think I'm trying to replace them. They're not going to think that I'm trying to tell them they're doing a bad job.
So let's talk about that, because that's what they want to know. So what were the products? What did you end up, you know, using and experimenting with, and where are you going at things now?
So the 2 primary products that we decided to pilot, because we had all kinds of, same thing, we had hundreds of things in our backlog.
Yeah.
One, we went ahead and hit one head on, because it was no question. We had already taken Rillo and put it out. Yeah, we'd already taken that product back in March, and after a couple of times, my service manager said, hey, we need this product. This is going to be great. I think he heard how it got sold to him was, hey, your ride-alongs you don't have to do ride-alongs anymore. So he's pretty excited about that, or not as many.
Right.
But we adopted it. It started off great. For for the first 4, 5, 6 weeks, and then summer hit. And we didn't have time for it. Nobody was watching it anymore. There was a couple of glitches in the product, and that was enough for people to say, see, it doesn't work. So we basically said, shelve it for now. Let's get into the summer. We need to take care of customers. We'll reevaluate it in the fall. Then we got in Rocky's program. We said, hey, let's go ahead and relaunch this product. We took it through Rocky's system, and it is going so much better. Because of a couple of things. We'll talk about some other questions, I think, but mainly we have someone focused on it, is championing it. We didn't force it down our technician's throat. We allowed them to opt in. Not all of them opt in, but now we have some that are wanting to opt in. So that's been great. So there's just a lot of, it's been so different actually having a plan and to go through this. The other product, Fireflies, very simple. It's a summarization tool.
What tool?
Summarization.
Okay.
It transcribes your meetings.
Okay.
Basically, having someone sit down and take minutes. You were talking about, wanting an AI tool for you and your wife.
Yeah.
This is one. I've actually tried it. She knows about it. We probably won't use it again. But I did show her.
See?
But
so you were using that in like leadership meetings, team meetings?
Right. Yes. All the leadership meetings has been great because a lot of times sometimes I'm in a meeting and I'm absent. I'm there, but I'm absent.
Gotcha.
Maybe there's something else in my mind. Right now I've got a hurricane also on my mind.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people miss. But then too, the great thing, the meetings started running better. Because people are going back and looking at the recording of the meeting, and then they're noticing, wow, we kind of jump all over the place. Oh, I personally, because sometimes I can talk too much. I'm like, man, I'm not giving people time to talk, because it measures all that.
Yeah.
What's your talk rate?
Really? So it tells you Matt spoke for 25 minutes?
It'll break it all the way down. It automatically, sometimes, like, right when we first started using it, we had to put, you may have had to go in and put, well, this, might have said participant 2, you put their name in. After that, you never have to do it again. It knows participant 2's voice and it automatically recognizes it. Before the next meeting, what we started doing is sending that out. We sent it out right after the meeting, but then we'd do an L10 a week later, but we'd send it out the day before. And so people were reviewing. So it also cut down on, there was accountability, because it automatically says, hey, here's your tasks. This person was tasked in this meeting these 2 or 3 things. So it was a reminder, did you get these things done? 2, it just kind of cut down on the reoccurring conversations. And so, it's been phenomenal. The next big thing we want to start using it for is one-on-ones. Even maybe some difficult coaching conversations we have to have, so that at the end of the conversation, you can send that person, like, here's what we talked about. Here's what you committed to. And we're in full understanding that, that this is what was said.
Yeah, love that. So we have used a summarization AI through Zoom when we have our Zoom meetings at Nexstar. And I'm reading some of those have been fascinating. The one thing that caught my attention was it can sense emotion.
It does.
And so I remember I was rereading a summarization of a meeting, and it says, so-and-so told a joke and everybody thought it was hilarious. And I'm like, holy man. So that's some powerful stuff right there. Abe, sorry.
Kind of leave the program. So this is what we're talking about here is what Matt's team identified, what problem are you trying to solve? And what they identified was we overmeet, like every company does, that people who weren't at the meeting don't get caught up, that we forget what we talked about and we don't follow up on our action items. Right? That's a problem to solve. You could just say, hey, let's just adopt this software, Matt used it, work for him, let's do that. That's what people will do. If you don't have that problem to solve, why would you adopt that software? But he did. And so for the program, they're saying, this is a problem, and we're setting out metrics, and they've all been, when you launch the pilot, it's like, these are the things we're going to measure. If we're going to continue using this, we have to have 90% of our meetings using the recording over the next month. we have to have at least a 90% approval rate from our team members. It has to be accurate to this. We set up these metrics, and at the point we say, did it work or not? But it all started with what problem are you trying to solve and prioritize in his business. That was a big one.
Abe?
Yeah. So we jumped into a lot of different products, and we kind of just run fast and yeah, exactly. And about I know Rocky loves some of that, but he's like, so some of the ones that we're utilizing that you guys saw them at the trade show, right? ProBook is one, and Evoca and Realo, and there's some other things that we're dabbling in, but I know that's kind of been a hot topic. Same exact thing. What are the problems that we're trying to solve, right? So we introduced Evoca to the team, and we have some data that shows that it's actually the adoption is really, really high with the team.
Can you talk a little bit about what Evoca is?
Absolutely. So Evoca is basically it's AI voice, and I'm going to be speaking directly to the coaching section of Evoca. There's two different pieces. There's the coach and then there's the voice. So the coaching section integrates into ServiceTitan, okay? And the problem with ServiceTitan, as you guys all know, there's just garbage in, garbage out, 18 different reports. It's all over the place. So we were really trying to dive in on our booking rate, and we just like, something just doesn't look right. So we found a product, right? We experimented, checked all the boxes.
Why did you think it didn't look right?
The ServiceTitan?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you the easiest thing to do. If you want to know what's going on in your organization, take 5 minutes a day and listen to the call recordings. Absolute game changer. And that's what spun off of this is, as you know, that little green bubble that pops up, right? They got to take ownership of that beauty, and if they don't, it doesn't attach it to the job, it all goes to abandoning, right? Now, you've got your team going through the abandoned calls, or unless you're using some other product out there to reclassify these calls. But what we found is your contact center, they're controlling the destiny of their own scorecard. They'll say, that's not a lead. I'm like, hold on here.
It's a price shopper.
Yeah, you weren't able to overcome the objections. So you just say, oh, it's not a lead, right? Now this person looks like an all-star. So that's why we rolled out Evoca. It dials in and it reclassifies the calls for us, but it also is a great coaching tool. It has trackers like Realo, right? Are they asking the right questions? Are they offering memberships? And then there's other metrics at the top where are they using filler words? Is the monologue too long? Are they over talking the customer? I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Now they have access to this, so they're able to go in and take a look at their scorecard, real time, like while this stuff is happening. And it's just been a great tool for us because it gives us visibility right into the contact center. And then what it also does, which is a nice feature, is if you have a non-booked call, it will alert the department manager or whoever's running the contact center. And then you can even take it a step further, not going off track, but you can also tie that alert into a Zapier, and if you're familiar with Chirp, and then you can use an AI bot to start having conversations with that customer on that non-booked call. Because guess what? Once they hang up, what happens? They're on the phone, they're calling the competitors, and they're calling, and panicking. So as soon as they hang up, if you can build in some AI automation, which is the next step we're moving into, we are able to start texting that customer immediately, not allowing them to pick up that phone. We can serve them up a link to schedule online. We can offer them a promotion, but what it also will do is give the contact center enough time, because they can see this language happening, they can actually pick up the phone as well. So that was
in real time.
Real time. There's a lot of cool stuff there.
So it can be used in the office. Okay, keep it. I'm going to go to a question from the crowd here, which is relevant to what we're talking about here. And it says, other than big chat AI, it says GPT, cloud, etc. What would you suggest the top 2 most useful AI tools would be for most of the people sitting here? So just briefly, what would the top 2 be, and just a quick description of what those do?
Yeah. Well, again, I would say, what problem are you trying to solve?
Yeah.
Right. That's really what it dials back in, because there are so many.
You've got them well trained.
He does. I'm telling you, and there's so much. There's just so much out there these days, and it's changing every single week. I'm not going to talk maybe trade specific, like about what we talked about Avoca and Gorilla and ProBook and all that. But I would say start with what was brought to you guys' attention, ChatGPT, Gemini, any of those. Start dabbling in that there. I think is a great area. You know, you gotta be comfortable with it. You know, have conversations with it. Even if you guys have WhatsApp. So Meta released Llama 3.1, and it is powerful. I sit there and have full-blown conversations with this thing, and it challenges me. And then I challenge it, and then I say, well, ChatGPT said this. What do you think about this? And they're like, no, I don't agree. I think this is right. So it's just really, really fun. But I would start with maybe the 2 or 3 times.
Well, and it sounds like Avoca. Were you happy with that?
Yeah.
That tool?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Matt, how about you?
Same. I mean, start simple. You know, if you're not ready to look for the issues, you know, ChatGPT, the Firefly summarization, or Otter, I think is another one. The Zoom, I think.
What's Otter?
Same thing. Firefly. So
Okay.
you know, just a transcribing summarization tool.
Gotcha.
Just transcribes the entire meeting, and then it you know formats it.
Gotcha.
For you. I think those are just easy ones to adopt.
Okay. So, speaking of adoption, I'm sure that this wasn't easy for everybody on your team. And I'm sure that there was some pushback, even going down this path of AI, some hesitancy, maybe even some outright, I'm not doing this. So, Matt, I'll start with you. Are there any stories that you can share about how this was adopted in your organization?
Yeah, I mean, we still have people. I mean, I'm still reserved in a lot of areas, just because we have to make sure that we are governing this thing. I mean, we've still got to, every time a new product comes up or something, somebody's using it, in the office. I'll hear, oh, we're using this product, ChatGPT to do this, kind of like, Abe was talking about. So, should we allow that? Should we not? We've got some work still to do in putting in policy. I think if we put policy around it and we put those guardrails, I think people will continue to feel better about it.
Yeah.
We are encouraging people to use it in their everyday life.
Did you have anybody that just outright?
I mean, look, there's still people that are scared that cell phones cause brain cancer. Okay, there's some people that aren't going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And of course, that's why even with our text, we made it optional. We didn't just say, hey, you have to do this. There may be a day and time we do. I mean, 6 years ago, body cameras and police officers were common. Now there's not a police officer out there that doesn't have a body camera, because I do feel like some of the stuff it does, just like really, it provides protection for the technician in the home. So yes, there's the coaching aspect, but it's helping them understand there's other benefits besides the coaching. You're going in someone's home alone with a customer.
Yeah.
There's liability there. Being able to have that conversation recorded. So if the customer calls in and say, hey, your guy said this. He said there was a lifetime warranty on this product, and if we replace this capacitor, that if anything else ever broke on the system,
Right.
We've all had those conversations where you have to, I think you may have misunderstood that. Now you can go back and see, was it the way he said it? Or did he just outright lie? And if that's an issue, now I've got a character issue with an employee that we've got to talk about, who's just trying to sell things based on what he's saying. So it provides, protection for them though too. Because I think a lot of times it's just people hear the text wrong.
Yeah. Well, and I like what you said about asking who wants to use it. And then, just like anything, if it works, right? And then if it works for them, well, then the other texter can say, well, tell me more about this. Maybe I need to use this too. So I love that. Now you've got some champions.
Correct.
Abe, how about you? Your experiences with some concerns and roadblocks that you might have hit along the way?
Yeah, I would say with certain products that we're rolling out, there was some roadblocks and some pushback. I would say that for the most part, my team has been pretty open to it. I think they're now even more excited. We sent out surveys, right? We gathered data, so we have some facts, right? I'm just not assuming that they're all happy and they want to adopt it. But one big piece that really moved the needle was kind of a reset in messaging. Thank you, Rocky. So messaging is absolutely everything, and kind of like Matt was saying as well, is we developed messaging for each department, right? So we developed messaging from me to the team, from the sales team, for the installers, for the service guys, right? And we wanted to let them know what was in it for them, why we are doing this, right? What's on the horizon. And once we had that reset, and some of the language that we did in some of the messaging was, if you want, you can opt out, right? And it actually worked really well, because when we rolled out some of these products that we're rolling out, we did have some people that were just like, we're not doing it, right? So when we repositioned, we re-messaged, I can tell you that there's been just a big lift. The team seems really excited about it now. I don't foresee any major roadblocks moving forward.
Awesome.
What's funny about that, if you remember, so the program is all virtual, right? So it doesn't matter where you are. And you'll remember we were talking messaging, and Trevor, one of your guys, was online, and literally on the call, we had Trevor, we're in Zoom, and we said, Trevor, yeah, there he is right there. We're gonna send you up to a breakout. You're gonna use AI to recraft all these messaging, and we want you back in 30 minutes to play us back what the message looks like to this group, to this group, to this group, to this group. And he comes back 30 minutes later, and he's got all the messaging 80% of the way there. We did that on the fly. And so that's nice. And I'd also want to interject real quick, because some of this you might be thinking, like, how does this even work? The pilot program, number one, has to have an executive sponsor, or a sponsor, right? So they were the sponsors of it, and they come to every session they want to come to, and you guys came to every single one. Then we say, okay, we want to find champions. And you're going to go out, just like we say, the worst thing you could do literally is go out and say, we're going to use AI, this is the tool you're going to use. We've said it many times here, opt in. And so when you find those champions, I got a quick story for you. I'm walking into the green room here 20 minutes before, and a guy puts his hand on my shoulder and says, hey, Rocky, great speech yesterday. I said, oh, great, what's your take? Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to call him out. His name's Josh. He works for, I think it's Quality Plumbing in East Tennessee. They have 100 employees, and he is a geek about AI. And I said, Josh, if the owners of your company leadership team said to you, we're going to strike an AI team, and we're looking for people to sit on that team, would you raise your hand? He goes, I've been waiting for that for a year. He says, you know what else? We have a plumber who's an ex-software engineer. He would love to do that too. So this message around opting in is even beyond that. Remember I said yesterday, you have 100 employees, you probably have 3 or 4 who know more about AI than I do. There's your example of Josh. And so if anyone's worried, like, okay, like yesterday I went to this prompting exercise, I don't know if I can do that, I promise you, there are people in your organization that we will help you find to be your champion, to do the lead, to do all this change management that you talked about. They're in your company today. So as owners, you don't have to worry. You just make sure they are accountable to it. They'll make the magic happen. We'll guide them on the framework.
Awesome. I want to rest a little bit still here on tools, because this, as I'm seeing questions come in, it's all about what tools. One that I keep seeing is marketing. Did you guys identify any AI tools to assist with marketing?
Yeah, so talking about finding the champions, right? And I was very fortunate. I have champions they're sitting over there with AI. And just to give you an example about marketing tools, so that song with the subtitles that you guys saw, that was a tool that Trevor recommended yesterday. And just like Dave said, that was produced in 30 seconds via a text. Son is AI. He texted Abe and Matt, I want to have a conversation about AI, upbeat, bam, while we're sitting here, and you guys heard it play. So that's great for marketing, YouTube, videos. There's several tools that we use when it comes into marketing, messaging, and just kind of like some of the breakouts yesterday is you kind of build your library, right? And your training, right? It knows your company. So yeah, I think that was a great tool there, and there are several other tools that are out there that we'd be happy to share with you guys guys as well. Just point for the Lord.
Okay, cool. Matt?
So it was a marketing tool that actually, about a year and a half ago, that actually got me concerned about AI. So I put out concerned. Yes. So I put out a contest in our company and said, hey, for like $100 Amazon gift card, I think it was. It said, whoever can, win the contest, as far as creating a copy for radio commercial. And within about 30 minutes, one of my dispatchers, text me 3 amazing radio commercials. And I'm just like, what in the world? Has this guy been sitting on these? So I walk in there and I'm just like, man, where did these come from? I'm like, did you, have you already had these written? And he said, no, I just punched in ChatGPT, kept prompting it. And I really, at that time, didn't even know what ChatGPT was. I'm not a big tech person. I'd have a flip phone if I could. I guess I'm like, well, I guess he's going to win the contest. One of the dispatchers sitting beside him said, well, wait a minute, he cheated. I'm like, well, did he? He just used something that was available to him.
Right.
So, but that's where I became a little concerned about, a year and a half ago, that, man, this is coming. We've got to start getting ready for it, and we didn't until Rocky came along. So, it was. But as far as a good marketing tool, ChatGPT is the easy one.
Yeah.
You need copy for a commercial. If you use the paid version, it'll produce any kind of imaging that you want. So I need a picture of this. And you don't have to worry about being copyrighted because now, because it was created, it's your picture now. So, because that's always been an issue. If you use a picture off the internet, somebody might send you an email saying, hey, send us X amount of money or take it down.
Love that.
Can I just read one thing there? Whether it's Gemini, Copilot, ChatGPT, whatever tool you're using, Claude, every single thing you do in your organization, if it's marketing, I know you guys all want to know what's the shotgun or the silver bullet tools, they don't exist. So as a starting point, just use one of your GPTs for literally everything, whoever asks the question, every single thing in marketing that you do, use the GPT to see how it can complement what they're doing. That's a second point. And I'll give this offer. One of our guys here, Ashley, he's the head of our marketing team, and because we've been doing this for so long, he has a list of the top 10 we see being used in the marketing tools. So if you have a very specific thing you're looking for, ask Ashley. He'll tell you what tools that are most commonly used.
So that goes, you guys are, the audience here and what we're talking about are really in sync right now, because I'm reading the question here, and it says, where do you find AI tools to solve your problems, and what's the method to vet them? So Rocky, can you?
Yeah, so believe it or not, as much as we're saying, don't just buy anything you see at trade shows. Trade shows can be a good source for sure. I'm not discounting that. And we've got some great companies. We've already named them. I will personally say my experiences with Avoca, with ProBook, with Rilla have been very good. So don't discount trade shows. There's a couple tools out there. One's called G2. So if you go to just g2.com, G2.com or Capterra, these are two sites that are generally accepted as being some of the top portals where you can go and search and say, this is the problem I'm trying to solve. We literally use this language. And so it's marketing, just put it in there, and it's going to give you a list. And what's interesting about both of these these sites is that it'll tell you the features. You can compare features against the other products out there, and you start to get to everything online now is you get feedback, right? And so they're rating it. The users are rating it as we go. So those are two sites that I think you should do. And don't forget what I talked about yesterday. There's an AI for that, and OpenAI. Those both have GPT stores. So the difference, generally speaking, is this: go to Capterra, go to G2. It's going to tell you these off-the-shelf tools that you're seeing in the trade show, okay? You go to OpenAI, or if you go into theirs, maybe more so OpenAI, these are tools often built by just regular people, like me, when we built the OKR, the strategy one. There are probably, in both of those sites, GPTs that have been built for your industry by someone in your industry.
So somebody in this room can create a tool that we can all then use.
And number one, we can show you how. And two, it's free. If you have the ChatGPT Premium, you have access to these GPTs that have been built, and it doesn't cost you anything.
Hey, can I answer
Yeah,
that?
go ahead.
So I had the same question when we got started, and I don't know if you remember the answer you gave me was ask the AI with the. You know, again, find the problem first. Go to GPT, Gemini, whatever. Here's my problem. What products and AI solutions are out there to help me with my problem? And you can continue to prompt that. And I mean, that's how we found some of our.
So a follow-up to this was, are there any scams out there that they would need to be aware of, where it's not a legit AI tool?
Okay, so if you haven't figured me out, if you talked to me last night, you know I am an optimist, I'm a glass half full guy. I like to think the best in humanity always, okay? So I'm gonna say there's probably some scams, I'm not naive. What we're really talking about is the AI able to do what it says to do? Because you're gonna be sold. There's a lot of tools out there that say, this is what we do, this is promise, all these features, this is how it's gonna work. Because myself and my team, we all come from a tech background. I've had 3 tech startups. And we all know the playbook of what these companies do. What they're doing is called future selling. And so quite often what they're saying is that we're gonna test the market. And we're gonna say, here's the features that we know you want. And as people sign up and validate that that feature is what they want, then they start building it. Like that's just how, literally every single software tool you're using today, this is what they do. Yeah. And it's not wrong, by the way, because the good ones will fulfill. This is the magic of engineering, etc. And so when you say scam, I would say that many tools are built by people who are trying to get on this bandwagon. Remember the dot-com boom? Everyone's launching websites, everyone's doing this. Exact same thing, only 10x. Yeah. So there are going to be tools out there that just aren't going to do what it's meant to do because it hasn't been proven, they haven't had use cases, they haven't had customers yet to validate that. And that's why the tools that we've been piloting, they're further along that journey.
And I assume that there would be some feedback given as it relates to the reviews that are left that would tell the story too.
Yeah, you mean from users?
Yeah, that yes. Would say, don't use this app, this is a scam.
And that's why if you go to G2, if you go to Capterra, even if you go to the OpenAI store, there you can see how many people are using that. So again, I don't know if they're scams, it's just be very wary that you're going to be sold on tools that do things that maybe it doesn't do it.
We're talking about tools briefly. I guarantee if you go back to your shop today, there are AI model tools that you're not even aware of. Without going out and spending money, it's at your fingertips. Just take a little bit of time and do some deep diving. I'll give you a big one. Recruiting, right? Recruiting is a beast.
That's not really a problem for them.
No. But it's more than a full-time job. But I'll just bring up Indeed. There are AI modules in Indeed where you can literally source candidates by a couple of clicks. It does it for you. You don't have to worry about the messaging. Once you find that candidate, whether you use smart sourcing or whatever you guys are using when it comes to recruiting, but once you find that potential candidate, you can message them. You don't have to worry about what message you want to develop. There's a little button there that says generate. Bam! AI throws a message up. You don't like it? Regenerate. And keep on doing it again and again. So you're prompting. So the tools are there. I'll give you one other tool that's pretty cool, which everybody's probably on service type. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but there's this TI intelligence. So when your technician calls in or whatever, they dispatch, they close a call out, you look at the invoice summary and you read some of the notes from the technicians. You're like, what in the hell is that? Like, I can't send that to a customer. So you probably pay somebody in the office to kind of clean your invoices up. Well, now there is a one-click button where we set prompts within Service Titan, and we want a professional. And the prompts that we put was clear, concise, and professional. Polish this up. Hit the button. Invoice professionally written. It's consistent every single time. You're already paying for it. Service Titan. So, a couple tools.
That's awesome. All right, so Abe, I'm going to start with you here. If there's somebody in here that's considering the AI pilot program, what would your advice be?
Oh boy, you need time. You need time. Time is going to be a big thing. As you know, there's so much happening. As us owners, you need to find a champion. right? You need to go to your team, see what their level of interest is, and you just have to dedicate some time. It's like with anything else, right? Rolling out all these tools and the ChatGPT and the ProBook and the Evoca and all this, right? All that stuff is fantastic, but you have to dedicate the time. You're paying all of these subscriptions every single month. And what I do is challenge you to look at the utilization. I will guarantee you 50-60% of contractors are not utilizing the tools the way they should. They're paying and paying and paying and paying. I think we're going to get to it. So look at utilization, and there are utilization benchmarking scores within all of these tools out there today. The other thing I would say is again, it goes back to the champion, it goes back to utilization, and if it doesn't work, punt. Get rid of it, right? What's the easiest thing? I'll relate to this. What's the easiest thing to do, right? The greatest day is when you buy a stock, right? Let's say you buy NVIDIA. That's the best day. What is the toughest thing to do when the stock goes up 20, 30%, 15% to sell, right? That's the toughest decision of your life, is selling a stock because you think you're going to get 10% more, 20% more. Same thing with technology. If it doesn't work, kick it out, start over. Don't continue paying for something that's not bringing any value to you or your team, to the customers.
And this is a really good point. Sorry for that. But you know, we talk about shiny object syndrome, we talk about disciplines. So some people might be saying, well, so you're going to adopt a tool and punt it, and drop another one and punt it. That's a waste of time. The game is not to have AI change your business overnight. There are very, very few silver bullets out there. The game is socializing AI within your organization. So when you punt something, what have you actually done though? You've opted in, you've learned something. What we always say in technology is fail fast, learn faster. So let's dump the ones that don't work, but we're building muscles and mindset and buy-in. And one day, because it's the framework going to teach you, okay, we all get this, we want this, we see the power, you're going to find the ones that really stick, and you keep those. But the punt is not being undisciplined. The punt is knowing the game. And the game is getting your entire organization to be a fast follower. Remember, 80% of your organization, if you want to be modern, can pivot quickly with change. That's what this game is. So don't think it's being undisciplined, it's building those muscles.
Yeah, advice?
Trying to think what to add. Obviously have a plan. If you don't use Rockies, if you don't go out there and sign up for Rocky, have a plan. I can't stress enough what Abe was just talking about, have a champion, someone in your office. I would say, I've learned, you know, typically we try to make our champions either our leaders in the organization. Sometimes that's not the right person to champion us. I found that out within our organization. Actually took a lead coordinator, and he is like the tech guru now, because I mean, what do managers do? You know, if something starts glitching out or it's not working, it's like, okay, you know, put it aside, I'm going to go back to what I know. And so I would say definitely find that champion, have a plan. That's a big one.
What if their shop doesn't feel like they're ready? How do they approach this? Because you can justify that and justify it for a really long time. Well, we're not ready, we don't have this. We're not ready, we don't have this. We don't have the right people, this. So I'll open this up to the three of you, because you might have had some of that same feeling. We're not ready to do this. What would you say to a member who feels that way?
I think you have to first, I mean, you have to, again, start slow, and you have to show people results. I'm not going to say it like Gary Vee did, calling people old, but we have some legacy members on the commercial construction side of the business, and who are not very tech savvy at all, and they have fallen in love with this Fireflies thing. And then I'm like, that's AI. Oh no, we don't need to use that AI. It's Terminator stuff. You know? No, the Fireflies is AI. It's using intelligence to transcribe this meeting. Really? Okay, so I would, you got to show the results. And again, don't force it. Force it down anybody's throat. It's voluntary.
Yeah, so speaking of results, as I see another question coming in, we are going to talk about results in a little bit here, because that's really where the rubber hits the road, right? Like, what's the impact been? So we are going to talk about some metrics that came out of their pilot program. Abe, how about you?
Well, the one thing I would say is when you find that champion, and like we said, we keep on bringing that up because it is a process. Believe in them, trust them, and empower them. I'll give you an example. Toya, who oversees the contact center, she is a champion. She loves to execute and just run with it. I actually was the one that was pumping the brakes on some of these rollouts. I'm like, hold on, Toya, we can't handle it. And that's not like, because I'll just go after it, and if we mess it up, we'll fix it. We've learned. But what I had to do is take a step back and be like, hold on here. You know what? I've got champions in the organization. Why don't I listen to them? Right? That's what they're there for. So I did, and I handed it off, provide some oversight, for some of the rollouts that we've done, and rolled out absolutely fantastic. So I guess what I'm saying as business owners, it's really, we've got the talent, we've got the team, but sometimes we like to micromanage. And I will tell you, I have had to work on that personally, because I do like to be involved. I like to give my input, but when you start growing and scaling, you can't. You got to lean on your people. They got the answers. They know what to do. So trust the team.
If I were to recap yesterday, a couple things. Number one, if everything's a priority, nothing's a priority. So if AI is not a priority, you've got so many things. When is AI going to become a priority? That's number one. The second thing is that you don't have to. Remember the archetypes? 95% or 90% of companies are impeded today. The fast-falling companies are going to push this agenda. You don't think you're ready? Then what happens when these companies or anyone else is on the bandwagon to start going further and further and further ahead of you? You are going to go from impeded or maybe even into denial. And then you might remember one of the stats I put up, 85% of companies today are using AI, half of which aren't just taking off the shelf, but building bespoke AI in their organization. This cuts across and transcends all sectors. Everyone is using AI. How can you say you're not ready? This is the legacy part. We use that word a lot, right? Legacy people. The world's moving too fast. There's literally no reason. No one should say we're not ready. It's just you need a plan or a program to get you on that journey.
So I'm going to summarize several questions that are coming in this regard. How do they protect themselves, their customers? How do they protect the information in general? Can we talk a little bit about that? Rocky, maybe that's best for you to answer here, but there's a lot of questions about, well, how do I protect my customers' information? How do I protect my information?
So this is not a scary thing. Because number one, I'm kind of more of the, well, anyway, here's the thing. What you do have to understand is why responsible AI is important. Is there high probability it's going to happen? No. But every jurisdiction is a little bit different. And so when you sign up for software, quite often they are the ones who you assume, because you do terms and conditions, say that they will protect the company data. In many of your states, it's actually going to say, well, I believe this to be true, is that actually, if you use the software, you have some responsibility as well. And so you really do want to understand what responsible AI is and what your responsibility might be, even though the risk, I think, is generally small. The second piece is, this is why your internal responsibility matters. Let's start off with, we will only use this kind of data. We will only use AI in this use case or this. And when you start to understand it, we can help you understand or reduce or mitigate or diminish your risk. So this is the middle ground. We're basically all going to agree that GDPR is the gold standard. In the AI world now, you've got Canada over here who's saying, you start messing around with, or this is what we're proposing right now in our government, you mess around with AI, you're going to jail. What we're hearing...
So that's legit right now.
They're trying to push this. This is how far we are. And on this, so this is the middle, this is Canada, and so maybe you've got like China here. Right now, what we're seeing is the US is way over here. The United States is saying, let's push this, let's be innovative, let's be leaders. And so when I talk about risk, there is risk out there, but just know your governments, for the most part, are saying, what I'm hearing, is we will allow AI to do its thing because we see the future. So we're not going to be as litigious as we are in other things, like maybe some countries in Canada. So that's kind of like maybe too macro for you, but these things do matter, and I'm glad the question was asked.
eventually, do you see that? Eventually, the government comes in and says, "Okay, we can't let this." Doesn't that put us at risk that we get to a point where it's too late, and now the government says, "Oh crap, we got to step in and do something now."
Well, this is why it's on everyone's agenda, right? And that's why I referenced GDPR, because back in the day, decades ago, they saw that coming. It's there. You all, whether you know it or not, your software GDPR is there, or a version of that is there for sure. So yes, it's going to happen. This is not the same thing, but this is what people asked me a lot of this yesterday. Sorry if I just digress for a second. ChatGPT was built by an organization called OpenAI. OpenAI was founded by the Elon Musk and Sam Altmans of the world, and if you don't know this, OpenAI exists to ensure that AI is used for good of humanity. Just go to the website. OpenAI is the ones who launched ChatGPT out there. They have got the best people in the world, they believe, to ensure that AI is for good and not Terminator and iRobot stuff. So all this risk stuff, all these things where people are going to use it to build bombs and blow up the world and all these things, that is what OpenAI exists for. It's assured it's used good for humanity. So there, what I'm like, why I say that is that risk matters. We need to talk about risk, responsible AI, but know that governments and entities around the world are watching this very carefully to ensure bad things don't happen, whether it's getting sued or building bombs or whatever that is.
All right, one more question, then we're going to go into metrics. So Matt, I'm going to start with you. We've talked about this pivot, persevere, punt concept. Was there a specific time where you had a 3P moment where you decided we need to pivot, we're going to persevere through this, or we just need to punt?
I'm not going to give a good answer to this because we're not there yet.
Okay.
We're only, we still got 2 or 3 more weeks left to finish. I mean, I kind of, in the back of my mind, knew where I feel like we're going. But having the pivot, persevere, punt mindset, for instance, some of these products can be expensive. I mean, real is not cheap.
Yeah.
But knowing that we're going through this 12, 14-week pilot, at the end of it, if Rilla is not the product for us, the more expensive thing is to keep trying to use it just because I paid for it already for a year. Because time's, it's just wasting everyone's time. So, but we're not there yet.
Okay. Abe, have you had a moment?
No, I mean, not yet. I would say that something that was really exciting to see with Evoca is we thought that we had a booking rate issue, right? Just a raw booking rate within service type. So we laid that product over, and we realized that our teams, they're pretty strong. They're pretty in line because it gives you all the data, right? You can really see. So it's not something that we're going to punt because there's other tools and coaching and stuff that's very, very powerful. But what I would say is what's really great about these tools is you may implement these because you think you have a problem. The data shows you otherwise. You actually don't. So it's a reverse. It's a good feeling as well.
So kind of a pivot then.
Correct.
Yeah, as their coach, I could tell. So it's your answer. But I would say they are persevering with Fireflies. So the metrics were so clear, they are going to persevere, and I believe we're going to cascade it out to other meetings. So that's persevere.
Yeah.
Rilla was a punt, and now it's back into a pivot, and now you're going to see the data. I'm sure it's going to be a persevere. Because it most likely, in your case, Abe, the punt was Abe literally. You know I'm going to say this. Abe is shotgunning and had so many tools, but would you not say that we helped you punt and say we were doing too many things, and now we're more focused? Yeah. So that's also a punt idea.
Well, let's talk about the metrics.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, so I got to read some of these. So this might be a little hard to read, and I'll also read them out. And in hindsight, I should have done this better. I just took a screenshot. So the first one here. Okay, so before you start looking too far ahead, this is Rilla with Matt's team. When you see the top line there, it says work days. So what that means is that for 22, they had data from 22 days of using Rilla before our program, and just 12 days that we had data with in our program. Okay, so that's the work days. 22 days before our program, 12 after that. So if you start looking at these things, time spent reviewing minutes, prior to us in 22 days, almost double the time, They had 48 minutes spent on it, and with our program, they went to 759. It's a 1,600% increase because we got champions. We had them opt in. We told them why. We said what problem we're going to solve. What's in it for you? This is how the tool works. All these things. 48 minutes to 759 in those 12 days.
So let me pause there for a second, because when I first saw that, I was like, wow, that's a lot of wasted time.
Yeah.
So tell me what the benefit, what are they getting from that? Is it now, I think you kind of guys even told the story a little bit, is you were able to go back and see what we talked about and focus going forward. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So the way I tell the story is two things. Number one, as a tech guy, I can tell you, for the real products that really work, if it doesn't work for you, it's user error. Right? It's like, remember Excel a decade ago? No one knew actually how to leverage Excel, but when you finally realize, like, holy shit, this can do a lot. So this to me says they were actually using the tool as it was intended to be.
Gotcha.
So if you only use it for 48 minutes, your techs are going to say, Gorilla wasn't valuable. It's not doing what they weren't using it properly. So now if they did, look, we'll see the result. The second piece is, you're right, this is what we call often a vanity metric. It might just look good. The next slide, I'm going to show you the metrics that you care about, your Nexstar metrics, the KPIs of your organization. So we'll get to that one. So in my case, in our case, I think this was a good thing. It wasn't vanity. If we look at a couple other ones that were just profound, like look at buy-in. Ride-alongs performed 20 from 5 to the 56. Feedback given, if you know the tool with Gorilla, it's a coaching tool. We're giving feedback. 22 days prior, they had 5 feedback. In our 12 days together, it went to 92. Conversion, our conversations reviewed by our reps, 72 to 193. Time spent reviewing it. This is why you're there for, right? Let's learn, let's review it. They had 168 minutes before that, and it went up to 1,124 in half the time. You're looking at numbers that are just completely off the charts, comments viewed, etc. So they're now we're actually, in less than 2 weeks, using the tools as it's supposed to be. Okay, so do you want to add anything before I go to the next slide?
No, I mean that's the numbers speak for themselves.
Okay, here's a graphical indication because some people are visual. The blue is before the program, and the orange is the after, and the dotted line is the increase. So you can see even in less than 2 weeks the profound impact that we had in showing them how to use AI. So, is there a silver bullet? Is it all, unicorns and roses or whatever they say? No. And so if you start looking at your metrics that you all track, the green says they improved in less than 2 weeks. The red said that they went down, and the yellow is neutral. But you can see here in 2 weeks, we're starting to already see pivot persevere climb. Oh my gosh, like trucks part 42 to 58. Permission to enter went from 53 to 62. The agenda part 74 to 89%. So we can tie this back. And this is the key thing, why we say problems to solve. If any of your metrics that you're coached with Nexstar are not performing as they are, that's a problem to solve. And when you adopt a tool like Gorilla or Avoca or ProBooks, this is what we're going to help you do. Connect the tool to the KPIs and metrics that matter to your business, and we're going to help you maximize that, or it's not doing what it's supposed to do. And in Matt's case, in less than 2 weeks, the majority of those were already in the green. And this is what matters to your organizations. And eventually, we'll tie it to what? Conversion, revenue, employees' happiness, your customer feedback, all these things we want you tied to AI. The other part with metrics and feedback, there's some of the stuff that's anecdotal, right? And so with Avoca, Abe's team, we're early on that pilot, but one of the first things we did, we said, let's survey the team. So we did all the why are we using this, all the stuff onto. And Toya's team, we said every week, right, we were going to survey your team members and how they're feeling. The last 2 weeks we've been surveying, it is completely, this is what, will this help you in coaching? 100%. Will this improve the customer experience? 5 out of 5, everybody. Will this improve your ability to be trained? 5 out of 5. Will this help organizations? So this, sometimes it's not pure data on conversion, sometimes it's simply, does your team think this is going to help? And Toya, with your case with Avoca, it's a slam dunk, so she knows, let's keep using this. And then already, Matt, you talked about Fireflies. So we surveyed them again on, do you now know what's going on in meetings? Are meetings shorter? Are meetings better? Are we more accountable to each other? Are you more accountable to yourself post-meetings? And every single one is off the chart. We've completely changed that in, 3 or 4 weeks using the tool. So that's another anecdotal one. And then the team member and AI champion excitement rose significantly. So we have, obviously, I don't know if I'm pointing over here, you can't see them, but Toya and Trevor here from Abe's company. And I'll tell you, watching these two grow, Trevor was kind of already a geek with AI anyway, but they have just taken this and said, we want to run. Abe was doing the AI leadership. These two here, I hope you'll let them, is like they want to run the AI ship for them. On your team, can I talk about Jeremy, or do you want to? Oh, actually, I guess I have a quote here I should talk about later. Let me know when I can.
Yeah, let's do that now, because that's where I want to focus on now, is how this impacts our people. Right?
Okay, so there's a quote that's going to come up here, and basically what Jeremy is Matt's one of his opt-in AI champions. He did not use AI prior to the program. He sent us this note just a couple days ago when we were at Super Meeting. He said, I can't express how much your guidance and support have meant to me throughout this process. You've truly helped me unlock a passion for this work, and I couldn't be more grateful. Jeremy went from, what was his role prior?
Jeremy's lead coordinator.
Lead coordinator. He's now, you should be telling a story.
Yeah, Matt, you tell the story.
Yeah, some more context behind this quote. Jeremy came to work for us about 6 years ago. Jeremy was a technician. He got injured in an attic, hurt his back real bad, and so we moved him into the office to be a dispatcher. Jeremy and I get along really well. I'm very direct. I can sometimes be difficult to work for because I say exactly what I'm thinking. Jeremy does really well with that because he's the exact same way. So Jeremy can be a little difficult around the office a little bit. And Jeremy, when we started this, I think you made some comments. Again, Jeremy's just very, Jeremy. A little background on Jeremy. He was a recon Marine, just like, and I did get permission from him to share this.
Yeah.
So Jeremy has had some very, very difficult struggles with PTSD. So with that, and just being very direct, he wasn't the most popular person in the office. Since we've started this, and I think most leaders and maybe even parents will resonate with this, there is nothing better than when an employee or a child, that when you get to be a part of helping them find their passion, they completely turn into something different, to the point to where, everybody in the office right now is talking about Jeremy. Like, who is this new guy? We have this thing in the office where, if someone's walking through the office and they're not smiling, we make, hey, Matt, you're not smiling. Hey, Abe, come on. We got to set a good example to our technicians. Don't let them take your attitude in the field. Let them take a good attitude into the field. But Jeremy's become that chief guy, and it's been amazing to watch because he found his passion with this AI. And I knew Jeremy was a tech guy. I think he did a lot of gaming, and stuff. And he's not gaming anymore. He is AI. He's doing stuff like Power Automate. He's talking over my head. I'm just like, oh, slow down. I'm like you. We need to hit the brakes just a little bit, get some policy and stuff. But it has been wonderful to watch him become this new person in just a short time, finding his passion.
So this story hit home for me because we're all sitting here, we're worried that robots are going to take over the world and that we're going to be replaced by computers and AI is going to own the world at some place. And what this story tells me is it might actually help our people, become better versions of themselves, become more productive. Going back to something, Rocky, you had said, this is not us against AI, it's how do we live alongside it, right? And when we can actually enhance our people's lives through it, that's the goal, right? So I love that story. Thank you for sharing that.
And the bow to tie, which I think is obvious, in Abe, if you all think, again, you don't have to lead this journey. Abe found Trevor and Toya. Matt found Jeremy. There's Josh out, again, I'm gonna give him a plug, at Quality Plumbing in Tennessee. If you're his manager here, or leader, or you're the owner here of that company, Josh can be that person for you. Every one of your company, we can help you find that person, nurture them, and they can lead this for you. Don't feel like it's on you.
You wanna?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm really privileged. I feel honored and thanked for this opportunity. So if this has resonated with you, I hope it has, and our gentleman here endorsing this, we want to obviously bring this to the Nexstar network. And so we've talked to Julian about how do we build a program that is bespoke for this organization. We know your business. And so what we're offering here is you can sign up either through this QR code or just go out to the booth out there where Ashley and Lo are and sign up. And if you want to sign up for this program, basically, in short, it's a 12-week program. We do 10 companies at a time, so you're learning from each other. We help you find, you have 2 champions involved in it. We're going to put you through 1 to 2 adoption of use cases. It's $12,000 for 12 weeks. And in 12 weeks, you'll go from, I'm not sure what's going on, or, you know, I don't know what I'm doing too much. In 12 weeks, we're going to set you up to where these 2 gentlemen did. And by the way, they were only 8 weeks. So you're going to get even more than that. So it's a 12-week program, $12,000. The first 20 signups here, guaranteed to be in your choice, October or January cohort. And the first 50 will be guaranteed if they want to be part of that community that we're building, that's going to share all the learnings, so it goes on in perpetuity. So I hope there's some excitement. I hope you see the value, and this is our offer for the Super Meeting. Dave.
Please give it up to Abe.